What's up, everyone? As Thursday's vote draws nearer and nearer, it could be anyone's game as to who could be staying in the house. Who do you think will stay? Who do you want to stay? Drop it in the comment section below. And from me and the cast of The Office, welcome to your live feed update. If you are new around here, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and also click the like button because it literally takes 1 second to do so, and then you can get a live feed update from me every single day of the season. So the day starts off with Janelle and Nicole Anthony having a heartfelt conversation, getting to know each other a lot more and strengthening their bond. Basically, Janelle's mission there was to try and persuade Nicole Anthony to vote out Kevin rather than Keisha, because the votes obviously seem to be lying in Kevin's favour currently. So Janelle was trying to bring her onto her side and was giving her all these things, saying, you know, Keisha's not as much of a threat. You know, Kevin can sort of he'll suck up to power and make his way through the season a lot easier. So she was basically, it was like a last ditch effort. And Nicole Anthony did seem to be quite sold at that, because they did seem to discuss the votes that they would have to evict Kevin, and they said that, you know, the votes that they would have on their side would obviously be Janelle and Casa alongside Nicole Anthony, who was obviously involved in the conversation, as well as they think they can get Bailey and Davon on board. They still believe that Memphis is on Keisha's side as well as Ian, but in reality, guys, we know that it's probably unlikely Keisha's going to stay this week. There was inklings ever so slightly that Keisha could have been staying, but unless something drastic happens today or tomorrow, it looks like Kevin is going to be the one staying in the house this week. Unfortunately, Keisha does seem to be totally out of the loop, telling Davon, you know, obviously I've got yours and Bailey's votes, and Davon obviously just replied with, of course. And it was quite sad because, I mean, like, you can't say straight up, no, we're not giving you your vote. So it's obviously what Davon had to do, but Keisha's going to get a bit of a shock on Thursday night, I think. It's going to be a week one blindside, so it's very, very sad, but this is Big Brother All-Stars, so you've got to expect that sort of thing. In regards to Memphis trying to save Keisha, Nicole Anthony tells Janelle in that conversation that maybe she shouldn't be so sure that that Memphis is on their side. She thinks that Memphis is actually broing up with Cody, with Tyler, and that's what we know is the case, guys. We've seen the feeds from the outside, whereas in the inside, Janelle is still unsure, and she thinks that Memphis is with them, when we know that ain't the truth. And unfortunately, that's going to be another blindside likely on Thursday night, unless they realise before what happens, and they need to realise that Memphis doesn't have any loyalty to them. The conversation that was always waiting to happen was the conversation that Nicole Franzel does not work with women. She has no loyalty to them, and she always gravitates towards men. That conversation has officially happened, and it happened in the conversation between Janelle and Nicole Anthony. I think it was Nicole Anthony who brought it up initially and said, you know, she's got no loyalty whatsoever to men, to women, and she always gravitates towards the men. And Janelle basically went on to say, you know, she's very dangerous, and you can't let her get far in the game, or otherwise she'll steamroll. And, you know, the thought of Cody and Nicole Franzel being a powerful duo was brought up. And despite Nicole Anthony maybe not being so much in cahoots with Janelle, they both had level ground on that, and they both agreed. So that could definitely be a target of either of them if they win HOH. Christmas and Casa had a lovely little one-to-one, and they basically discussed the fact that they actually do trust each other. They both think that they are great people. I don't know if it was just keeping up appearances, but it seemed pretty genuine. So I think that could be some sort of nice relationship we could see coming out of the next few days. And also the fact that Christmas is being keen on keeping Keisha. They both have similar ground there, so I don't know if they can bond over that or even make something happen, because I still wouldn't count out the fact that Keisha could be staying this week. It's very unlikely, but you never know what people can work. Leading on from the fact that Keisha is probably not going to be staying in the house, Janelle and Case did establish the fact that she is a terrible campaigner, basically saying she's going up to people saying like, oh, I won't eat your food, as a campaign sort of tactic, and trying to persuade people to stay in the house by saying, you know, look, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to, and it's nothing game, it's not really going to benefit anyone's game. Someone saying, I won't eat your food is nicey nice, but it's not really going to it's not going to persuade them to keep you in the game. A very strange relationship this season seems to be between Dani and Janelle. They don't talk to each other that much, but when they do, they spill a lot of game secrets to each other, so it's very, very difficult to find out the dynamic between them two. We don't know if it's genuine or if it's fake, but Dani seems to be hell-bent on keeping Kevin, whereas Janelle is totally the opposite. She's vice versa. She wants to keep Keisha in the game. So they did have the discussion, you know, what's best for our game, like us two as a pair, and it seems weird to discuss them as a pair because they barely speak to each other. So I think they've probably got some sort of pre-season deal going on, but that's something very fishy that we've got to watch out for, folks, to sort of actually see when it comes to the actual time. Are they going to have each other's backs, or will they betray each other? The paranoia is definitely kicking in for Nicole Franzel, as she believes there is some sort of giant alliance that is forming between Nicole, Anthony, Casa and Janelle, and Bailey and Davon, and she feels that she's totally out the loop there, so she was telling Christmas all about that. So I think she could spiral over the next few days if she continues to think so, unless she pulls herself around. But it seems that the record for the most crying so far goes to Nicole Franzel. She seems to be, I think it's just, she said it was lack of sleep, which is why she's crying. So that could be the case, just maybe a wave of emotions taken over. But at the same time, you know what I mean, she's good at the game. She's got herself into some good social positions, and you know, I think she'll work her way out of this funk that she's in currently, and I think she'll be able to get better over the next few days. Dani and Tyler seem to have something on the DL, and they are definitely very, very tight, and they keep reassuring their bond with one another. But Dani has told Tyler that she feels uncomfortable around a few people in the house, one being Christmas, one being Nicole Anthony, and especially David. She feels iffy around David, but the only reason she feels iffy around Christmas and Nicole Anthony is the fact that she hasn't really talked to them so far. But they seem very, very tight. I have noticed a few people on social media mention that Tyler seems a little anxious around Dani when he's talking to her, meaning that, you know, because people feel Tyler doesn't tend to ever be anxious or seem like worried or shy or anything like that, but everyone's noticing that he's acting a bit different when he's around Dani. So I don't know if this is just a one-way thing that Tyler probably won't reciprocate, but Dani seems to put a lot of trust in Tyler. As we discussed earlier in the video, Janelle and Nicole Anthony had the heart-to-heart, and basically Janelle selling out Kevin, saying, you know, he's a threat, and he took out Jeff Schroeder in BB11, saying that he sort of manipulated or at least sort of influenced his eviction. And you know, Nicole Anthony, that sort of kept with her, and she went straight to Kevin and told him that that Kevin should go speak to Janelle and Casa, because then it would sort of make Janelle and Casa feel a little bit more comfortable about keeping him. And she basically said that she told him that Janelle had told her about Kevin taking out Jeff. So it's a lot of he said, she said again there, guys. It's like, you know, Chinese whispers going down the line. But totally, it's one of those things where I think Kevin doesn't need Janelle and Case's vote, but if he goes and speaks to them, it just consolidates his safety a lot more. Christmas and Bailey have a conversation, and they both believe that it's definitely the house decision to keep Kevin this week, furthermore consolidating his safety in the house. And Nicole, Franzel and Ian, who have their Million Club Alliance, had a discussion, and they talked about maybe pulling a Janelle and Casa next week and both going for the safety suite competition, thus saving each other. But then the thought was brought up it would totally expose their alliance if they saved each other. However, I think they should just cut their losses and do it, because to be honest, I mean, I'm not necessarily rooting for Nicole and Ian to get safety. I'm not rooting against them to get safety. But at the same time, everyone probably knows or has some sort of idea that there is a winners alliance. I mean, I think everyone, even pre-season going into this season, thought that there was going to be some sort of winners alliance. No matter which winners were in there, they would have to band together. So them saving each other, it definitely wouldn't harm their game. And I think it would probably put a bigger target on their back, but that target's there already. And it's going to be magnified next week when there are two winners standing after the first week. Kevin has told Bailey that she is his ride or die alongside Dani, Davon and the Nicoles, both Nicole A and Nicole F. I didn't think that was the right thing to say. It's terrible. I mean, you know, in Big Brother we know that your ride or die is your number one. You get to the final two with them, and that's the aim of the game. So to tell someone that you are their ride or die alongside 5 other people is definitely not the best game move, or 4 other people, sorry. It's not right, because I mean, that's basically telling someone, hey, let's go to the final 6 together, or 5, and then you can be the first to go. It's just, no, it's not the right thing. If you're going to tell someone that you're their ride or die, you tell them that, and that's the only person you tell that, or you secretly tell several people that to help you get further in the game. You don't say you're my ride or die alongside these people. Just a no-go. No-go, folks, because it puts a bigger target on your back for them 5 to band together and kick you out when you get to the end. Despite both Dani and Davon working with Janelle, they both discussed the fact that they are worried about how dangerous Casa and Janelle can be as a duo. They have basically also established the fact that Casa and Ian are the smartest players in the game, and they do feel threatened by them. So I don't think they'll be going after them immediately, but I think it's in the back of their minds that always Janelle and Casa are a duo that are to be reckoned with, and they need to take them out sooner rather than later. Whilst Tyler was in conversation with Christmas earlier on, he basically had an anecdote for level 6 from Big Brother 20 saying that when they formed that alliance, everyone basically put every single bit of information they had into the level 6 pot, and everyone sort of just gained access to that. So he's basically saying that the alliance that Memphis is pitching, if people don't start to do that, because apparently level 6 just formed very, very quickly, if they don't form quickly and they don't start to put information in straight away, he'll know that it's not genuine, because he knows that level 6 actually helped him make it really far in the game, and also they all inputted their information and it helped them benefit their game massively. Cody and Tyler discuss the fact that they don't really feel comfortable about this Memphis alliance, as the fact that they feel Dani and Christmas, who are supposed to be in on this alliance, are actually not on the same page. They actually led on to sort of talking about the fact that they come across as mortal enemies, which is very, very strong for day 6. But at the same time, sorry, day 7, but at the same time, they don't seem to be on the same page. Dani's even expressed that she doesn't really feel comfortable about Christmas, so it's definitely a fair point that they are making. But Cody does go on to tell Tyler that he trusts him more than anybody in the house, definitely feels the most comfortable with him, so he's out to protect him, and Tyler's the same for Cody. I don't know if he reciprocated the fact that he's most comfortable with him, but they have definitely expressed their trust in each other and the fact that they would like to go far into the game. But we know Tyler, the fact that how many final twos he creates and how many people he cuts along the way, and Cody might just be one of them. Cody also brings up the fact that Casa would nominate him should he win HOH, but Tyler actually sort of pins that down slightly and goes, you know, Casa's actually told me that he would like to work with us both, and I quite like that, because I'd like to not see Casa and Janelle on the block next week, and to see Tyler basically telling him that makes me feel a lot more comfortable about the fact that Cody and Tyler might actually go to Janelle and Casa and create some sort of 4-man power alliance. I think that would be fantastic to see, and I'd be there for it. Kevin has been saying all week long that if he was to win HOH, Janelle would find herself on the block, and this seems to have sort of dissipated slightly, as Kevin has now told Bailey that he would rather work with Janelle than be sworn enemies. So he doesn't want to sort of be a ride or die with her, or just sort of be, as I said, enemies. He just wants to work with her in some form or some sort of capacity, no matter how much. So I feel like now if Kevin wins HOH, he won't be gunning for Janelle. I don't know if he's had different feelings about Janelle not like being part of the plan to nominate him, or maybe he just doesn't want to make that bigger move if he was to win HOH. So maybe the emotions got the better of him when he was initially on the block, and now he's calmed down slightly, feels more comfortable that he could be staying, and as a result he's retracted from what he said about Janelle. So it seems now that Kevin actually isn't gunning to get Janelle out. Finishing on a fun note, the have-nots of the week have finally been granted access to normal food, so they must no longer eat slop until the next have-nots have been selected, and also the house guests were provided with booze, so bring on the boozy times. That is all of your game updates for today, folks. With 1 day to go until the eviction, will things flip on its head and will things blow up in the house? Because I think there's a good chance it can, and also I think the vote could potentially flip. But there's lots of exciting things to talk about, so share your comments and opinions in the comment section below and have a good old conversation with a fellow Big Brother fan. But besides from that, guys, thank you so much for watching. You are all legends. I really appreciate all of your support. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff, and until your next update, I've been your host, Tom Vasey. Good night.